We're moving him just in case you couldn't see him in the background.
Hey guys, welcome back to Movies on the Move. We're not on the move, but we did move Movies on the Moved.
So we just saw Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
Last time there were a bunch of disgruntled fans after The Last Jedi, and I think what I'm seeing this time from the research I'm doing is that now there's disgruntled critics.
Aha.
Because
How
it's not getting
switched.
Great reviews, but audiences seem to be enjoying it more. And I have to say that I don't know, maybe I'm just easy to please, but I like both of them. So I'm against the critics this time. I was with the critics last time.
Against a lot of viewers last time.
Yeah, against a lot of viewers last time. And, those are my initial thoughts, that this was a movie for Star Wars fans, and I think we both are we're not huge Star Wars fans, but moderate Star Wars fans, although only one of us has sat through the prequels.
I enjoyed this movie, I think, almost as much as The Last Jedi. I do feel like The Last Jedi took a lot more risks and was a lot more... It almost felt like The Last Jedi was more action-packed, but it developed Rey a lot more. What?
My ear was falling.
One thing I always love is when they add in these little funny jokes and these little mentions and little things. I think this movie had a lighthearted feel to it, similar to The Force Awakens, whereas The Last Jedi was more dark and more serious. This one was more fun.
I know there was more little jokes and little bits and stuff, and there was a darkness to The Last Jedi, but this had its dark moments.
Of course it did.
Too, and yeah. I think,
and it gave me kinds of feels, too.
Yeah, and I think the strengths of this movie are definitely the development of Rey. I did like The Last Jedi, but The Last Jedi kind of felt like a farewell to Luke more than like a characterization of Rey, and this was very much about Rey and her journey as a Jedi. I mean, this movie was all about her, and I think, as the protagonist of this trilogy, then that's what they wanted to go for, while also paying homage to the original trilogy and the main characters that everyone remembers. So I do think it did a good job of that. It showed Rey's faults and her strengths, and it did a good job at that.
Carrie Fisher passed away during the production of this movie, and I think that had a lot to do with the lack of scenes for her character in this movie. Did you feel like it was edited a little strange at times? Like they had to use certain camera angles because they were compensating for shots they didn't have?
I mean, I'm sure that, I forget, I think she died after the Last Jedi. I'm not even sure if she filmed any of this.
She filmed some. I think I heard that she filmed some of the scenes. Obviously, some of the things we saw.
I'm not sure if they used some sort of technology, but anyway.
I think they might have, because it almost felt like she wasn't in the scene at times.
Anyway, Carrie Fisher's character, it seems, has been more of like a supporting player in these movies anyway, so it didn't really feel weird to me. It just felt like, I don't know if she was alive, it would play out any differently.
I liked what they did, sort of.
Kylo has always had that Vader arc, obviously. He wanted to live in his grandfather's footsteps, and much like Vader's sort of journey, it follows a similar path. And I think maybe for critics or people who aren't the biggest Star Wars fans, see the fault as this being kind of just like doing over what was already done. And I can understand that it's kind of like, in a way, like, yeah, we've seen this before, and The Last Jedi was like, we haven't seen this before. So that's why I think maybe, critics really liked The Last Jedi more, and fans didn't, and fans liked this movie more, and the critics didn't, because it didn't take as many risks, and it kind of was like paying homage to the original films and giving the fans what they wanted. But I mean, this is, you know, the end of that era, so I understand it, that, you know, you go to the Star Wars fans are the ones that I think you want to make happiest. Kylo's development as a character was more, what's the word, like methodical than Vader's. Like, it was more like slowly building to what he becomes, and that I think is a testament to the writing, that they took the time to kind of slowly develop him into what he was becoming, and that I appreciated. But there was one part of the film where I did think it was the way that they got him to that point was kind of like, I don't want to say cheap, but it just seemed like it was too easy.
That didn't bother me too much.
There were like points in the other movies where like he seemed like he could turn. There was never like a scene in the other movies where Vader seemed like he would turn. With how strong they developed Rey's character, I think what was lacking was kind of like any sort of development to supporting characters. Mainly Finn, because he seemed like such a big part in the first movie.
He was lacking in this.
Yeah, I think in the first movie he seemed like he was going to be such a big part, and The Last Jedi he became a little bit less so, and this one he became even less so, to the point where he just felt like he was just like some stalker following Rey around.
I don't know about that.
No, not that far, but I mean, like, there wasn't as much from him. There wasn't as much development. There was a little bit more, a tiny bit more development into Poe, but not too much either. It just kind of felt like they were there. Like, this was just Rey and Kylo's show, and they were just kind of there. And I know they're supporting characters, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more.
I always feel that way. Whenever there's a cast of a lot of characters, there's always people that aren't fully developed. I think that's the sacrifice that has to come with it.
Yeah, and I always think that, like, Star Wars and Marvel movies, I always think they're too long. So that's always going to be a complaint of mine.
I also just want to say there are two characters in this movie. We're trying to make this as spoiler-free as possible, but there are two characters in this movie. Damn, you couldn't cut the tension between those two with a lightsaber. Poof.
That leads me to what I thought was the stupidest part of the movie, but...
You gonna spoil it?
I'm sure people would disagree with me.
What was the stupidest part of the movie?
Yeah, you just said no spoilers! But I just thought it was unnecessary. What was the point of the kiss?
What was the point of what?
The kiss! When they kissed!
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know either.
You don't know?
I don't know.
But you enjoyed it. I think I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, there are definitely faults in it, and I understand critics being upset that it didn't take as many risks as The Last Jedi did. But I mean, this is Star Wars. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a fun movie. And this one specifically is supposed to tie the whole saga together. And for that, I think it did a really good job of tying everything together, of bringing Luke's story and Rey's story into one and kind of wrapping this whole thing up. I think it makes a lot of sense what they did.
I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5. It almost was a 4, but I give it 4.5 because I think it brought everything together in a good way, and it kind of reminded me of episode... Yeah, how did you know that?
You always cry.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of episode 6, the way it all comes together, and it just has
and there was an Ewok showing.
Yeah, this one right here. It just had that Star Wars, that classic feel to it, which I enjoyed a lot. So what did you think? That's what we really want to know. Did you enjoy The Rise of Skywalker? And how would you rate this trilogy overall? All right, that's all for now, and we will see you next time. But you know what I wanted to see? I wonder if I had opened those shades, if we could have seen the Christmas lights across the way. I wanted to see it. Because I'm going to be really upset because these shades look a little bland on camera.
I really can't stand
Is that musical?
No, not at all.